way, I think it's really nice that everyone wants to keep Italy, so we'll be doing that very soon as well. But I think that's the nature of this event. So for those of you that aren't familiar with DLC, this is a kind of a soft launch, a little introduction.
We made a very warm welcome to all of you that this Pascala is organized. The whole purpose of DLC is slightly different from most of the other organizations, and I believe that's what makes us different. DLC is in a quest to create the world's largest entrepreneurs club, but entrepreneurs club with a difference, a club that respects significance more than success. We are a little shy of networking, we are a little shy of doing things. We do things in our own ways, and most important is the own ways to bring everybody on the same value system and the same page. There are a lot of organizations in the world which are running with unbelievable pace only to network and introduce people to each other. All of us love to meet people, exciting people, amazing people, but significant people, and that's the difference. We at DLC believe it's the significance that makes the difference. Number of zeros in the balance sheet is only a momentary hold. Personally, professionally, I've gone through a sea change in my ways of thinking, especially post-COVID during the time which DLC was conceptualized and created. I believe we all, as entrepreneurs and professionals of some caliber, are merely trustees. We don't own anything. I think once this bubble is accepted and the minute this bubble is burst, your North Star starts pointing in the right direction. If you go to think of it for a few seconds, all of us are merely trustees of what we hold. If I think I own my home, and I own my beautiful office, and I own my car, and I own my companies and the factories and my resorts, I think I'm only a trustee who's actually holding things. And until the day I drop, it's the legacy that I leave behind. It's not going to be the number of zeros, but the legacy I leave behind is the contribution to humanity, to cities, to entrepreneurs, to people, and that's the way to measure success for me. So this is one differentiating factor. The kind of community we plan to create, a very powerful one. Powerful not because the most wealthy people are there, but powerful because the most incredible, significant people are there. They may be very small people, mid-sized people, giants. We've got deans of universities, and we've got people who've done social impact. But for me, most of these people are significant people, and I love. Today I met an amazing person. He's sitting right here. He said, let's get hospitals and merge hospitality. To me, that's significant. It's a different way of thinking. And that's the kind of community that excites me to know people and meet people, be it in New York or be it in India. And when we cross-proliferate these cities across the world, magic happens. So when Zen does something in India, magic will happen. Or if he does something in America, which he's already doing, and he utilizes DLC as a platform to get to meet people, that's where magic happens. So that's the kind of connects we get excited with. Knowledge is important. The differentiating factor in DLC, there are a lot of knowledge platforms across the world to a point of noise. However, the exciting part of knowledge is experience sharing and not knowledge sharing. It's not too much of Google knowledge that we are sharing, but it's too much of experiences that we are sharing, and they come about slowly and steadily. But the minute you start sharing experiences, they are industry agnostic, they are generational agnostic, they are kind of age agnostic, financial agnostic, and industry agnostic. So the minute you start sharing experiences, magic starts happening. How does he think of rehabilitation robotics? And how many parallels can be drawn from this genre of robotics into automation in businesses and business process automation, namely in HR automation? How can we share that experience, the different way of thinking, and apply it to HR? So the whole idea is experience sharing, and that's what makes DLC very unique and interesting. Not many places in the world you get to share experiences, but this is one such platform that allows you to share experiences across geographical locations, across political boundaries, and across religions of the world. So thank you, and lovely to have all of you. I'm sure it's going to be a great evening. Pleasure meeting all of you. Thank you.
There's no hidden agenda here. We're going to talk about AI automation. How are these things changing industries like healthcare, like music, etc.? How do we separate the media misinformation? How do we take the robot out of the human for more human aspects? And what are the lessons learned from those at the forefront, etc.? Right? So maybe we can go around. I think you've got a talk separate to this, right? So how's it changing industries? Maybe we can start with the music industry.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's very interesting because our industry is very marketing relationship to the industry. And I would say, obviously, like it's very much affected by technology and how we generate our revenue, right? It really directly impacts how music generates our. Problem is you have a lot of marketing, creative types in CEO positions. And there is a merge that's happening now with music and technology, where technology is driving a lot of the opportunity in our business, but doesn't really know how to engage properly with our business. And a lot of this comes with just lack of understanding and lack of awareness. So there's basically like 3 areas of our industry where AI, innovation, automation have the ability to and already impacting positive. One is in the content creation, right? So there's like so many tools available to artists, to creatives, to help them create content for it, right? So one of the barriers of entry for our industry as a creative was being able to pay for it. Studio time, this, that, it's opened up the doors for people to be able to collaborate more easily, right? There's programs for file sharing, for identifying content that is matching your needs or what you're trying to accomplish. The other side of it is really in the fan engagement, right? So you've seen a lot of advancements and a lot of opportunity around fan engagement that are brought by AI, automation, and innovation. And it really allows people to scale their fan bases, but simultaneously personalize a lot of that message, right? If you look back to like Pearl Jam's 10 Club, or if and how those kind of fan club and the idea of a fan club has developed over time. It also has allowed artists and creatives the ability to create far more engaging products and experiences for their fans, and also new ways to monetize those engagements and experiences. And then the third part is the business side, right? So, from a business perspective, it has really allowed our business to distribute more effectively and to monetize and track all of that content, right? A few years ago, the music industry wasn't even valued until Goldman Sachs came in and started doing that music in the airports, and it was like, oh my gosh, this industry is actually really, really a lot more valuable than we anticipated, right? So I think those are like generally three areas in our industry where these technologies and technology in general has the ability to continue to offer value.
But let's talk about healthcare. Like, what's an example? I think you've got a very fascinating story that we'd like to learn.
Yeah, so before we introduce technology into healthcare settings, so it depends on the patients, the human touch, which is important, obviously. But when there's human, we have an issue, right? Because humans will get tired, fatigue, right? And humans need to take a break over holidays, maybe go for skiing. And humans need to spend time with the family, and there's only that much human who's prepared to invest in time in healthcare. And
There's a talent gap, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we don't want to be musicians. We like not like engineer like us, boring job. Clinicians just working with patients at work, and humans have an issue. We are not computer, so the data is with us. So I cannot tell, say that, okay, under holidays, this patient is yours now. By the way, move the arm for 2 centimeters with 3 Newton load, and make sure that our end is about 5 meters. Are you crazy? What to talk humans, right? But computers capture all this data. So robotics come with computers, right? And the AI needs the data. So each of the robotics that we installed will collect a lot of data, and this data in the past was not utilized to the fullness. With AI, we are not able to analyze the data, right? Train the computers, train the robotics so that they can actually understand the data and give you some prediction. So the clinician will have a much easier job in terms of like clinical treatments. We are seeing AI being used like for MRI, in X-rays. In the past, the radiologists look at the pre-op, said okay, and try to figure out where's the cancer, where's it could be problem there. But they may miss it because after a long day, they may miss something that is very, very minor. But with AI, accuracy rate is way higher. And of course, the human is still in the loop. So with robotics in healthcare, we are seeing interconnected robotics offering, very well trained prognosis and even, diagnosis results to help the clinicians make better decisions. I still believe that human will be in the loop, and I think it's important because in our field, robotics in healthcare, I think that's the frontier of how technology will apply. I think you use robotics maybe in food and beverages industry, in service industry, in industry for logistics, etc. That's fine, because the worst case is the robotics fall down and the other maybe damage some place or some goods. But when you're using robotics in healthcare, then in our industry, the first rule of thumb is do no harm. The robotics have to be really safe. So we will use the most conservative approach. So we will not implement the latest technology because we don't want to risk creating further injuries. So if we can implement robotics for AI in healthcare, we can see that this technology reaches a certain stage of maturity. And this takes time because at the moment, our field, the robotics are very fragmented. So there are different forms of technologies. Just like in all industry, at the very beginning, for example, like years back, someone may remember, there's different kind of mobile phone. You have BlackBerry, you have Samsung, you have Sony trying to do like the same everything. Now you pretty much only left two, right? Android and iOS, right? The consolidation and standardization actually help the industry move forward, because now the developers say that, okay, I will either develop Android-based software, I sell it on Google Play, or I develop iTunes or Apple-based apps or hardware and software that actually support these two ecosystems. So if we eventually converge and standardize, we can see that robotics will be coming into your home. My organization, we actually developed humanoid robotics. So recently, we just came back from NVIDIA. So on the 18th of March, NVIDIA is doing the GTC. They do that all the time, and Jensen Huang will go off the stage and then present a very, very fanciful video. And we got a chance to be featured. Our humanoid robotics will be featured as well. So the humanoid robotics, I think, is the end frontier. We use some of this technology for rehab, for upper extremity, lower extremity robotics. So combining with AI, the embodied AI, two things I think is very interesting. We call it reinforcement learning and imitation learning. Imitation learning is easy to understand, right? You get a clinician to perform certain movements, and robotics actually learn from it. So literally, if you operate in layman terms, you fry an egg, the robotic look at it, okay, it will fry the egg. They just learn from it, just like how the kids learn from the parents. And reinforcement learning is that in the simulation, sim to real, we train the robotics in simulation, or using embodied AI, which Tesla is trying to do now in all their cars. The robotics actually keep learning and play, just like kids learning to walk, fall down, stand up, fall down. And in human world, we may take months or years to learn. In the robotics world or the AI world, because of the GPU, they run in light speeds, maybe in minutes or hours, we can learn complex tasks. So the way forward is amazing. No one can predict. I mean, before ChatGPT, OpenAI launched it, nobody believed that AI works. But after ChatGPT, everybody's about AI.
So you're in the rehab space, so you had a lot of, I guess, in the only thing you ever had to do with rehabilitation? Although you're currently going through it. So she can't put her hand up because
I'm not responsible.
But like, there's a fallout rate, right? A lot of people don't do it because it's boring, it's difficult, etc. I mean, with this mix of gamification, some robotics as a booster to the talent pool, what's been the success rate in rehab in this environment?
Well, we have in a very simple way, if you look at it, it's like going to the gym and trying to work out, right? You don't go to the gym for half an hour and spend 25 minutes to eat selfie. From there, you don't get the muscle that Jimmy has. You go like 3 times or as much as you can, you really put in the efforts and do that repetition and increase that intensity, and exercise must be challenging enough, very easy to understand. But in the rehab world, what happens is that all this depends on the clinicians. And obviously the patients must be motivated, right? Because I cannot move her arm as she's falling asleep. That's called massage. Yeah. She has to actively participate. So the gamification using AI actually stimulate that interest. So the in the past, the therapists are moving the hands of the patient, doing most of the work. So actually, I felt that therapists got more tired than the patients. But now, the therapists and the patient get on the machines, they look at the screen, oh, this is a very fun game. That's fun. You know, if you go to an arcade, you see the kids playing the driving racing car thing like this. It's not even real, but the body react instinctively because they cannot differentiate from the virtual world. So this motivation and interaction actually help the people called the neural reconnection. The brain is very plastic. It will relearn when you have an episode, you will lose that connection. The neural connection happens. Just imagine your computer have a wire to your spine down your whole forelimbs. It breaks when you have an episode like a stroke, SCX, SCX is like spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury. That stimulation creates like a signal they keep firing, and they find that alternate covered to reconnect. In the past we used to, now with robotics, that it's like going to the gym, you keep working out using the machines, right? Then you grow the muscle, that reconnection happens. Yeah. So the gamification actually results in a much better clinical outcome.
So engagement, but also
Engagement,
physical results.
intensity to repetition.
Physical and mental results.
Exactly, yes.
Fantastic. Stephen, any thoughts on you in general, what you're seeing across a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about an industry specifically, and I just, as a technologist, I've got to dive into everything that you guys think. So it's I mean, we have for AI and robotics, right? That's fine, yeah. But what? Why is that an interest? Because to me, AI and robotics feels much more like the means to the end rather than the end itself. Like, what is the end?
Yes.
Maybe it's reducing costs of business, probably by deriving people, which is not great. Maybe it's the assistive nature that we're talking about in healthcare. Yeah, the co-pilot is a bandied around term they keep, where we can keep humans in the loop, AI out, reducing faults, reducing damage, and maybe that's the end. And these are all great commercial endeavors, right? And all really good, and I'm sure a load of us in the room are going to make lots of money from these kind of things, and that's super cool. But also there's a huge fear culture that's been created, right? So Pasquale made a comment that 50% of people are pretty excited about AI. But 50% are not. And that's a big number. And that fear is not great. You know, whether it's the fear of Big Brother, like everyone is watching you and you're going to be manipulated through every social channel available to you. Is that cool? Probably not. Yeah? Is it the apocalyptic fear where the AI is going to become sentient and it's going to suddenly be like, oh, humans are viruses and we need to take you out? Like, I've seen that movie. You guys seen that? I mean, imagine Cyberdyne takes on the Matrix. Like, that could be quite cool. Like, that's the next Terminator versus that's the next Alien vs Predator version, right? That should be interesting. But what if we take a different lens to that? And this is our challenge as leaders, as entrepreneurs. It's our responsibility. What if we take more of a sustainable view on that? I'm sure some of you are running your eyes behind your hand going, oh, sustainability is the most talked about topic at the moment, but what are we really doing? And I don't mean that in governance, we have to do it for our board meeting. I mean genuinely, if we make this more sustainable, from an ecological perspective, I mean, imagine we actually thought about and used AI to improve the way we move goods around the world. Not only that, what if we actually changed the way that we consume our goods and produce less waste? Imagine we used AI to track whale movements and then set that data through automation into nautical navigation systems and allowed mariners and captains of ships to not kill the thousands of whales they kill every year by hitting them with massive ships. That's cool. Still hugely commercial and don't worry, still gonna make loads of money. On the social side, what if instead of driving this mass consumerism where all of us are diving into buy on our phones all the time, when's the next click? When's the next, Black Friday, Blue Monday, Pink Wednesday? How do we stop that? How do we become more sustainable in driving the right behaviors? Thursday afternoon, you're in Fair Price, trolley full of groceries, you rock up, packet of beans. You did. Hey Steve, awesome work on trying to be healthy. Eat your beans. But it's Thursday, and I know from your spending habits that 5 out of the 7 meals you're going to eat between Friday night and Sunday night are going to be takeout. Shame on you. I also know, because your smart bin told me, and your smart refrigerator told me, that those beans are going in the bin on Tuesday afternoon. Like that is cool, right? That is sustainable. It's highly personalized. It's driving great behavior. So what if I challenge you to say, maybe if we look at AI and robotics from a sustainable perspective, maybe the fear culture doesn't need to be there. Maybe, actually, we can issue in the true age of Aquarius. I mean, maybe AI and robotics are gonna genuinely take over. They're gonna grow all the food, build all the houses, do all the transport, provide all the security, and no one will want for anything. How amazing is that? There would be no want in the world for anything. We get to change what we do. We get to reignite our passions. We get to explore art, music, literature. We get to be inventors again. But not because we need to make money. We get to do this for the joy of it, for what makes us human, for the passion. That is cool. That's exciting. And if we maybe just apply some sustainable thinking to our approach to AI in all of our businesses, maybe we'll be shooting the next Renaissance.
So anyone here remember pre-internet, and when the internet came as well? I think the whole thing in my brain was great. So the internet was full of pedophiles. It was full of all crime. Never put your credit card on it. Right? There's the same kind of thing with many other these new technologies. I kind of feel, but actually, if you think about it, something like AI in particular, right? So if I just want you to think of a silly thought experiment. If I owned like a parrot and you came to my house and I taught it Shakespeare, and you heard it like repeat a soliloquy, you would turn on and go, wow, this parrot is so poetic, has such a deep soul. Then equally, if I taught it string theory, and all of a sudden it came in and was telling you all about quantum mechanics, you think it was a genius, right? We attach those things to this particular instance. And AI in many ways it's a parrot. It doesn't know what it's saying. But equally, it's up to me for what I feed it, for what its outputs are. And a lot more of this is actually in our direct control than most people actually realise, right? We can put it to these kinds of uses. We can determine many different things, right? It's a double-edged sword like many things. The internet has also brought us, maybe disenchanted children that have, they wake up in the morning and there's just so much entertainment that nothing else compares. But it's also been an equalizer, right? So for example, I think when I was growing up in that same pre-internet era, before the internet, I used to believe everything my dad said was true. I really did. I had all this misinformation unless I went to a library, checked in, all that sort of stuff. It really is an equalizer of information. Right now, being ignorant is a choice. Right? Some people choose to be ignorant in their echo chambers, but it's literally a choice. I've gone to shanty towns in Africa with kids on mobile phones that can get scholarships if they choose to really apply themselves, because information is not gated. It's been democratized. We're seeing the same thing with innovation now. I think about this for a moment. It used to be the big eating. So if you do a crowdfunding, right, just crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and those new the innovation has now been equalized. For example, a 19-year-old kid in Russia could come up with a software or programmable idea, sell the first million orders, get the money, build it, and actually enter business. It's no longer the fast, it's no longer the big getting the slow. Innovation used to be controlled by R&D, the big companies, Procter & Gamble, GE, etc. Now it's basically, we're innovating at the speed of thought. Right? And I kind of like that we are equalizing all these other things. It's how we choose to harness that kind of power that really matters.
So I just wanted to add to that, because I feel like a lot of the fear around it is about understanding and accessibility, right? So yes, people have mobile phones, but what do they do with it? I think more often than not, they're playing video games and not, there's so much, as you say, at your fingertips on Google or whatever. But you do, even more so, do you need to have regulation? Do you need to have teaching? Do you need to show people how to navigate all of this information? Because you see how, I think I had to delete TikTok from my phone because I accidentally watched a quick video, kids doing something, and that's the only thing that it kept showing me, right? So it's really easy for people to, or for technology, or for all of these platforms, if they're not regulated, if they're not controlled, or nobody's teaching you how to utilize all of this stuff, it's very easy for the negative to kind of suck you in. The other part of it is like, I remember during COVID, I took a MIT online course about AI for business. And then really, because, you know, I come from marketing, creative background, and, you know, as my career started advancing, I had to do budgets, I had to take an accounting course, you know, so I started managing all that. And I luckily also come from family finance and education, which taught me that, like, there's nothing you can't do, you just have to figure out how to learn to do it, right? And now, to your point, there's so much opportunity to learn how to do it. But in this class, the most valuable part of the class was really learning that it's already there. It's already here. It's not something that we have to fear of the future. It's already helping our lives in so many different ways. And once you realize that and you understand and you can use it for your own use case, it's much easier to accept the development stuff. Right? When you see its value it's adding to you, instead of, you know, somebody who is that clerical worker being told that your job is going to be made obsolete, you need to tell them how this technology is actually going to enhance their life.
That's right.
Right? So I feel like that's really how we can get away from this misinformation and make it exciting for everybody instead of just the few people who understand why this is so incredible.
I think like we're doing, what we saw here with the physical boosting, I think the same thing can happen with multiple tasks, right? So think about like in a law firm, we have a partner that has really the cognitive innovation decisions, and then you have a lot of paralegals that kind of do robotic work. They read through texts, find precedents. There's a lot of human errors. They can only travel so deep and far. And I think if we could think as a community, ways of taking that robot out of the humans, you have non-paralegal, but you have 3 bots, they go deeper, there's less human error. Do you need to do robotic work for 4 years to become a lawyer? Or can you accelerate that now to 1 year? All that sort of stuff. What are the sort of amplifiers? What are some of the areas where we affect education more, banking more, media more, etc.? I think it's obviously the start of a debate, it's food for thought. And we did start a little bit late, so there's also real food that's arrived. So maybe we'll pause specifically on that. But thank you to everyone for hearing us, and especially our speakers for providing some thought on this, and let's continue to mingle like we did before.